Okay, Kelsey, let's talk about Glasshouse, which is coming to North America. Uh, I know that other people have seen it, and it has been reviewed very highly. Correct? I believe, if I saw correctly, I saw that
We
it
were
has a
blown
90%,
away.
a ninety
Yeah.
percent on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. We've screen grabbed that a lot because, you don't know how long that's going to last. We want proof. Yeah. When we hit 90%, I was like, my associate producer and co-writing partner, my work wife, Emma, we were like, oh my gosh, we have to screen grab this right now. Might never happen again.
What if it is 91?
What was that?
What if it is 91?
Yeah.
So my questions are, I have epilepsy, so I have a lot of problems with memory. I'm curious, and also, my grandfather dementia. So I'm quite familiar with memory loss, and I was curious, um, what inspired you for that specific aspect with such a common storyline or a common plot beat, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. No, I understand. Great question. And also very personal, similar to your experiences. Both Emma, my writing partner, and I have had loved ones who suffered from memory loss, both short-term and long-term dementia. And it's something that I think most people have some sort of experience with in a family member or a life experience, but it's not something that's necessarily tackled in a context like this very often. And I think Emma and I were very much interested in exploring the extent to which memory and our perceived concept of self is informed by the past and informs our actions in the present. And I think the idealistic viewpoint is that what you experience in the past enriches you, makes you a fuller, better, stronger person, informs who you are in all these ways that are very fundamental and significant. But what happens if you feel like you've experienced something that doesn't make you a better person? What happens if it's a traumatic event or a trauma that has been so overwhelming and affected you so deeply that you look at who you are now versus who you were before, and you feel like the new version of yourself isn't better? And I think in the public eye, like it's often very, it used to be, maybe it's starting to change now as people become more cognizant of mental health and long-term effects of impact of trauma, which is actually such a good thing. And I'm so grateful for that. But I think it used to be seen as like, oh, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And like, oh, you might have all these bad things happen to you, but look how amazing you are that you've like persevered. But like, there's a lot of residual impact there, like starting from, just the discovery of the impact of PTSD, for example, which we really only figured out very recently in the span of human development. And I think Emma and I both, because of our personal experience with loved ones, but also having our own life experiences where we're like, you know what, I'm not so sure I'm a better person now. I actually think I'm not stronger. I don't think I'm tougher. I think I'm weaker. I think I am less resilient now because things are so much, the triggers are so much more raw or so much more impactful that you revert to like a fight or flight mode more quickly, because of past experiences. And we wanted to explore that in the context of two very opposing points of view, which is our two lead characters, our sisters, Evie and B, and their approach to trauma and identity. And, you'll have to watch the film to see how that plays out.
So, with obviously everybody's wearing masks, obviously there's a virus. I'm curious if this was filmed prior to the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, so the really unnerving thing about that is we had no idea the impact the pandemic was going to have on the world when we came up with this concept. We were brainstorming this in February 2020, and the lockdowns hadn't started happening yet. So we pitched this idea, sent it off. Showmax came back to us, ending up green lighting. Emma and I pitched like 8 ideas, hoping they would choose one that we could, be earn a little bit of money to write while we were salvaging other projects of ours and working on financing them. You know how it is, like life of an artist, good times. And then when they came back to us and greenlit 3 projects as a slate, it was not only a dream come true for many reasons, but so insanely lucky because that green light came through 1 week before South Africa's big lockdown at the end of March. So it was like they, in the time that we'd come up with the concept, sent it off for them to review, all of the chaos started happening. And by the time they gave us the green light, we were just about to go into lockdown, but didn't know yet how severe it was going to be and how long it was going to last. So it was quite a strange, like, life imitates art and vice versa experience.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I wanted to ask then, when you were filming, then that would make it that would mean that when you actually filmed the movie, COVID was happening.
It was very meta. Yeah, it was.
Did you have to wear masks under the actual
No,
masks?
so we had very, very strict COVID protocols on set, and we bubbled. So essentially, like, we all came out of lockdown and went straight onto this film set. And we got exceptionally lucky because the South African lockdown lasted until, like, off and on, like there were varying different like levels. They kept going back from between different levels of severity. But we came out of the most serious level, I think, in like August. And then we were shooting this film in November. And we were still having some lockdown situations, but nowhere near as severe as the first long one that was like 3 months long when we wrote the script, which was over like end of March through August, essentially. And so when we emerged into the world and we're shooting this movie in Port Elizabeth in the Pearson Conservatory, which is this real antique Victorian greenhouse that was like exported from the UK in the early 1900s, it was like our first contact with like being around people again. And we were all like, as a cast and crew, we were all bubbled. We were staying in like accommodation all together. We were not allowed to like interact with the outside world. We had strict mask protocols. We were getting checked, and we had a COVID officer on set with us, and we had to sign in and take our temperature and stuff every day. And if anyone even felt like, I don't know, if anyone like sneezed or like felt a little under the weather, they were like rushed off immediately for a test. And we lived in fear the whole time because we were like, if what was so strange is we flew to Port Elizabeth to shoot, and like a week later, I don't remember exactly the time span, but then the area in which we were shooting got diagnosed as a COVID hotspot. So we were so stressed that one of our crew or cast were going to go down with it, and we were going to have to shut down. And on the budget we were shooting on, like, that, we don't have contingency for that. You know what I mean? Like it's an insurance, like production insurance at that point, like no one knew how to handle this thing, right? So we were so scared, and it was, I actually think it was a miracle. Like no one got it. Everyone flew back to Cape Town healthy. It was all good. And then I fly back to Cape Town, and I think within a week of getting back to Cape Town, I got it, but from Cape Town. So it was like, I was just so grateful that everyone made it through the shoot healthy, and we wrapped the picture. And then I got sick over Christmas, but that was fine. It was fine because the movie was okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So did it make it easier having the actual costumes to go outside? Like the I can't think of the word for, like, not beekeeper costumes, but the actual
The masks.
the quarantine masks. Did that make
Yeah.
it easier for COVID for them to wear those?
I think they would say that the masks made the bonnet masks, I guess is what we called them, made everything worse. My actors are saints. Like that, inside those bonnets with the plastic, it was so hot. It was so claustrophobic. And you only had like a couple of minutes to perform until they steamed up. So they got so good at like using one of the breathing, like the tube port as a breathing hole, and like breathing through that. And then the second we went like called action, like fixing it up, sticking it in, performing as quick as they could. They were even like controlling and moderating their breathing to maximize the time they had to perform in the mask before it got too fogged up and we had to like cut and clean them out again. And then we were spraying the inside, obviously, and sanitizing and all of that. But it was a process, and I'm very, very proud of how it looks. And I think it turned out beautifully, and it's a credit to my production designer, my costume designer, working together. But yeah, my cast were like very patient.
So tell me about the slate of sci-fi movies that you were able to get.
I don't know how much I can say.
Greenlit. Well, yeah, tell me whatever you can say that you got greenlit prior to this movie coming out. At least in North America.
Yeah, with pleasure. So it's actually kind of a insane story. So I wrote a script called The Fix 9 years ago. And it was always like the intention, or my dream was that I would get the opportunity to make it and that it could be my directorial debut. But it's one would say, this is what I was told all the time, it's too ambitious. It was a very ambitious project. And I spent 9 years trying to get it financed and packaged. And in 2019, Greg, producer of Glasshouse, and I, we financed it and we packaged it, and we were about to start shooting it. We were in early stages of pre-production when it turned out that the film fund that was composed part of our financing, which was a new film fund, their investor didn't make payment to their film fund according to their contract. So we weren't able to move forward, and it was heartbreaking. And it was just one of those like indie film things where it was like, it was no one's fault. Like the film fund was devastated, like their whole slate didn't happen, whatnot. But it was so frustrating. And so going into 2020 was like, I was in a very dystopian place. Emma, my work wife, writing partner, associate producer of Glasshouse, she was in a very dystopian place because she'd had a similar experience on a series she shot in 2019 that then didn't end up getting, there was a internal reshuffling, and it didn't end up moving forward. So we were both like kind of heartbroken. And so we like pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps, pitched these projects. Mnet greenlit the slate, but they had witnessed everything that had happened with The Fix. So we shot Glasshouse. We finished Glasshouse in July 2021. And meanwhile, while we were finishing Glasshouse, Greg and I managed to refinance The Fix. So we were supposed to shoot the other two films in the slate this year. But because we refinanced The Fix, and Glasshouse was, I think this helped a lot. I mean, it is a business, this matters. But when Glasshouse got into Fantasia and Fantastic Fest, that was so exciting for everyone involved, and like such a, like they're so supportive of international drama work, and it's so appreciated. But also to like manage to get that sort of like support and recognition on a project with a budget as small as Glasshouse is like, yeah, it was really exciting. And so when The Fix all of a sudden came together, it was like, okay, cool, we got to make it this year. Like we can't sit on this movie. So we ended up finishing Glasshouse in July 2021 and then going into production on The Fix in September 2021. And now I've been in post on The Fix since, like, we've wrapped shooting in November, and I've been in post on The Fix ever since. So the next two projects in the slate are now getting scheduled to happen around delivering The Fix. So I can't say exactly when that will be. We have dates that we are scheduled to do, but
You'll say next.
Sort of
You'll
like,
tell me next time. It'll be totally fine.
Yeah. But they do exist, and we're very excited. And it's sort of now fitting in this other project, which Showmax is also involved in.
90%, it'll be a lot easier for you to get these things out. So,
I really hope so, because
I think so.
I've been really tired. Yeah.
I have a heart out. I have to get to my doctor.
No worries. That's more important than this, probably. I mean, definitely. Like, not even properly. Like, it's definitely more important.
Probably.
Definitely.
Did you need anything that you wanted to say to your fans? Anything you wanted to say about the movie that I didn't ask? I try to avoid spoilers because a lot of the most the things that I had to ask were towards the second half of the movie. But
I can tell you that privately. You're welcome to email me. I'll let you know.
Okay. And then if there's anything that you want to plug, anything else, just let me know. Okay.
Yeah, I think I would just quickly say that when I watch films, I'm really grateful for anything that makes me feel something powerfully or is provocative in terms of interrogating the world and why we do the things we do. And if Glasshouse manages to provoke thought or conversation in any way, that's, a gift to be able to share that. And anything else I can email you.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, good.
Did I cut you off?
No, we're good.
Okay. Any socials you'd like your fans to find you on?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Kelsey.Egan, KELSEY.EGAN.
Okay, awesome. And if there's, any other questions, if there's a lot of questions that I have, I'll reach out to October.
Great, that's perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
Yep, no problem.
Awesome, and feel better.